If you need to record a podcast remotely, Riverside.fm is the place to do it. Alex and I have been making Two Dudes Watch Cartoons remotely across states, pretty much across the continental US for 3 years now. We've tried several things, and this is what works best, honestly.
Zoom turned out terrible. We used a couple other ones that we paid for that turned out terrible.
You're looking at the interface right now. I think I'm doing the screen record correctly.
Riverside has made doing this podcast as easy as possible. Riverside FM.
Head to the link in our bio to get started. That's riverside.fm.
Today.
Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
Welcome back to Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, the podcast where two dudes, that is us, watch cartoons. My name's Evan.
And my name is Alex Mon. Just kidding. But we're surviving a digital attack here at Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, a cyber attack, if you will. We're covering Digimon, the movie, Digimon 2000. I'm not sure. We're joined today with Digi Courtney. I heard both these. I was like, is it Courtney Mon, Digi Courtney? Courtney, you've been here before. Thank you for coming back. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. This was such a treat. One, to just, talk with you guys again, because it's always a pleasure. And then two, revisit something that I love very dearly and was able to kind of go and digest with an adult/child brain, I guess.
So you were a fan of Digimon growing up. Alex, were you into Digimon? Like, it was sort of like the Pepsi to Pokemon's Coca-Cola.
Took the words out of my mouth, but who doesn't enjoy a good Pepsi now and again? So while it was not like my lifelong obsession like Pokemon was, these movies and anime in particular was in heavy rotation in my house. I'd argue the Digimon anime is more exciting than the Pokemon anime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
the storylines are deeper for
Yeah. And what's great, and I guess we're just diving in, Digimon was solely created to be a toy product. And so the anime makers, backwards. They were like, toy first. They're like, how do we get this toy out to the masses? So the anime makers had like free reign. They were like, here are the monsters. Here's the one character we have, Tai. Go crazy. Which is so wild to me. Because they cooked up something good. It's
supposed to be the male alternative to a Tamagotchi. Did any of you fuck with Tamagotchis growing up?
Yes,
it's
but I guess
made by the same company.
Yeah.
See, didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't do any of the lore into it, so this is awesome to kind of hear for the first time.
No, that's what we're here for, is to get into these fun tidbits. I think it's just so interesting, though. What I also learned was while Pokemon was invented first, Digimon hit the US first, technically. By almost a year. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it just wasn't very popular when it first hit the ground. It almost like Pokemon's popularity in the US allowed like the Burger King effect. Wherever you see a McDonald's, there's a Burger King nearby, because they're like, we'll pick up those scraps. We'll take your scraps, fans.
I feel like I watched the Digimon series, obviously the first season, which was the one that is beloved, that this movie is 2/3 based on.
Yeah.
But I do recall, I think I watched a good 4 or 5 seasons, like through different
100%
casts of
iterations. Yeah.
I was just digesting whatever I could. Like, even if it might have been trash, like there's like
you couldn't differentiate that well as a kid, though.
Exactly. Like, I was like consuming anything. Now I've like read they're into like 8 different ones with different characters, and I was like, some of these sound kind of ridiculous. But they had ones where people were turning into Digimon, so I mean, it got.
I think that's as far as I got. I think that's like season 4.
The natural progression is a creator at one point was like, what if they became Digimon? So I think what is really interesting about this movie is it's supposed to bridge like the two first generations. And I actually think that's really interesting about the anime itself is like two of the younger siblings make like a crossover appearance from like season 1 to season 2. Now this in my research was what was really interesting is so like the second iteration with Davis, Willis, the sister, the TK when they're older and Vmon and all those. That was called Digimon 02. It premiered in the year 2000, not in the year 2002.
Well, yeah, it was the second season. It was just
for all these years thought it stood for like 02 the year. Like, you know what I mean?
Get out of here.
I did. I really did.
So this movie actually came up in the comments of our now viral Pokemon deleted scene TikTok because people
don't call it a deleted scene.
People
Evan.
were saying how American execs butchered that movie, and that movie got like a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I had never really heard this before about Digimon the movie, but I think we've all probably discovered looking into this movie, it is actually
3 movies.
3 movies stitched together.
How did
And
we
as an
not know
adult,
this as a kid?
clearly,
How did
though.
we not catch this as a kid? It is so
No.
clearly 3 movies smashed together.
Even the animation looks very
Yeah.
like similar, but also very different. Like
Yes.
like from 1 to 3, even it's like clearly so different.
Mhm.
Absolutely insane that as a kid, never in my mind was like, oh, these are
No.
3 short movies that they.
Oh, I loved it.
But I also came into so like people are saying like it's so bad, like they butchered those 3 movies, and this movie has a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes is the critic
Rude.
score.
Yeah,
And
that's what?
I still think that's undercutting it. And like before I went back and watched it, I was like, come on, like I mean, sure, yeah, like they had to stitch together 3 movies, but it can't be that bad.
But
And then watching it again, I'm like, okay, they did what they could. Like,
no, I'm going to argue
They
with
worked
you.
with what they could.
I'm going to argue with you. I think the 3 they stitched together make a cohesive story.
they
Granted,
do,
Mhm.
yes.
if it were a full movie thought out start to finish, yes, it would be better. But when you realize it's, I think it really hit me when we're watching the first, not Angela Anaconda, which we'll get to, but when you're watching the first one, when Tai and his sister are children and they meet Agumon, and you're just like, this has no fitting in any of
No,
the
but
Digimon
it's
lore
so
that I've
cool.
ever seen. Yeah, I love the scene. As a kid, it was probably one of my favorite scenes.
Mhm.
But you're like,
Mhm.
why is Agumon huge? And you're like, I know this one doesn't talk. This is not Tai's Agumon. And then the narrator says, oh, this isn't the one that Tai would eventually. And I was like, what a weird, okay. But then it just transitions to the next. But so that's the first encounter of Digimon. And what they come to find out later is everyone.
Which is sweet.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Let's
almost
talk about it. This is the
Yeah.
opening scene. It's long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, it's not the opening scene of Digimon the movie. Courtney sent us.
Should we start? Let's start at the
Yeah.
beginning. Let's start at the
Yes.
beginning.
You put the VHS in. What appears first?
I don't even know how to describe this. Okay. It is called, and I'm not making this up, Angela Anaconda. And so it is a
What a
short
name.
of Digimon superfans in line to see Digimon the movie. Now, the animation is not in Digimon style. The animation is like faces cut out of a magazine
Like magazine clippings.
with
Mhm.
with drawn features on all of them.
It almost reminds me of like stop motion with paper cutout.
like
Mhm.
like a South Park almost. Yeah, it's
Yes,
it's
yes.
similar, not exactly the same, but
But
it is
worse.
similar. But
Worse.
it was the most corny, weird, way too long. Like at one point, I almost thought it was about to be like a turn off your cell phone in the movie theater and please be quiet. Like I don't.
Honestly, that would have worked better.
It
Mhm.
was so out of place. Like what? I don't even
I-
know what. Yeah.
I think it's a Fox Kids TV promo made for when
okay.
it airs. But Angela Anaconda apparently was also a series that ran from 1999 to 2001 for a total of 65
remember it.
episodes. You
Oh.
I
Oh,
had
see,
no
I-
Yeah, I think it
recollection.
was on.
It's a
like
whole
you said,
other
Fox
show.
or Nick. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Guys, like I said, I remember watching it. The producers had to be on some really good drugs to come up with this because what?
Yeah.
Who thought, yes, this is the animation style we want and kids will love it? But
It's
I
a
don't know.
crossover promo.
Yeah.
That's
So
exactly
do you
what
think
it
it was because that show was popular or because Digimon was popular and it was promoting her? Like, which
Neither.
way do you think it was?
Both.
Neither.
It's just like they're both both could help each other.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have to start there because if you go to Wikipedia,
It's part of the movie.
it's considered part of the
So
plot.
unfortunate.
Yeah. Which is a disservice.
It
To
is.
Digimon
It
movie.
is.
Angela Anaconda. With Angela Anaconda, it is a 1 hour and 36-minute movie.
And 5 minutes is of her.
It might be 10. It's between 5 and 10 minutes of Angela Anaconda.
It's 3 minutes and 52 seconds.
No.
I watched all of it.
It's 15 minutes. It's so long. It's so long.
Too long. 10 seconds too long.
But the numbers wise, so this 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, this grossed box office of 16.6 million on a budget of 5 million. I think that's about half of what Pokemon the first movie's box office take was. So relatively successful. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're picking up the scraps. But as we were talking about before, this movie is actually stitched together from 3 like shorts or featurettes of the Digimon anime, which are Digimon Adventure Our War Game, which is the flashback sequence.
Well, so there's 2 flashbacks. Which one is the one?
No, wait, sorry.
Digimon
Adventure.
Good point.
Digimon Adventure Our War Game, and then Digimon Adventure 02 Digimon Hurricane Touchdown ! / Transcendent Evolution ! The Golden Digimentals.
That's the last one.
That's the last one. Yeah, and that's where season 2 starts.
So I'm gonna be honest. I didn't understand that it was 3 movies until after the middle part of the movie. It goes present day. I go, what the fuck were we just in? We did a flashback earlier. What do you mean? There was a flashback and then we did a second flashback?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But do you
Despite all
guys
those
know
flaws,
what
I had a great time. Sorry, go on.
I know. No, that's okay to say. So I actually, it's kind of funny because you rewatch this stuff and when you're a kid, sometimes you don't remember all the names for some of these. So at the beginning, the big bad that Agumon ends up facing, I was like, I don't know if I actually knew the name of that.
No.
Do you guys know what the name of it apparently is?
No.
The giant
Parrotmon.
Parrotmon.
Close. Parrotmon. It makes me think I almost wish I could translate this better.
So let's
some of the Digimon names are weird. I wonder if the Japanese ones were better.
Let's talk about this because there's Hawkmon, but then there's also Wargarururumon.
Yeah, it's basically let's add every badass name in front of the original one. War, metal, drill, sword, Garurumon.
Yeah,
but
ate that shit up.
I think that's part of the charm is the long name. You're like, oh yeah, it's more powerful the longer its name is.
The longer the better.
Also,
Parrotmon, Hawkmon, Armadillomon. They got lazier the later they went on.
They did. The first couple ones were Palmon's not any better either.
Palmon, Tentmon.
Yeah.
I got a couple of them. So this movie though, the middle part of the movie though is really interesting because it's based on the season 1 characters, but they're not totally in the movie, all of them. It's very
I kind of don't like that as an adult now.
It's just so interesting because I would have told you they're all in the movie. You know what I mean? I would have been like, yeah,
they
the
might
whole
be in the
gang's there.
Japanese version.
I don't know. That's so weird though, is they give us everyone's on summer vacation, or I guess not because they're at school too. I don't even know how to describe it. The gang's broken up though.
But then in the first one they flash. Did you notice they flash to some of the, what do you call them, the original 01?
The Digidestins.
Yeah, the Digidestins when they're little on their balconies because everyone's literally conveniently in this circle of balconies that can see all the Digimon.
They said only those kids that saw the fight became Digidestins.
Which I think that's a plot hole.
Yeah, because later on
literally
there's
all
more
these kids
Digidestins.
were looking around.
And they also mentioned the kid in Colorado the whole time.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, he didn't see the fight. How does he get Digi-Eggs?
Before we move to 2, though, I will will say, as a 31-year-old woman, the part where Parrotmon like attacks him and they're under the bridge and it falls down, and Kari and Tai are like under Agumon, and then like everything goes haywire because that's what happens when he digivolves. And then he comes up and he goes, Kari like says something, and then he goes, "I'm Greymon now." I'm getting chills now, saying like, what the heck? I'm a 31-year-old woman. I'm getting chills thinking about that scene. I think because the animation was so badass. Like I really liked that animation.
That style was the best one.
The music starts up. I don't know what song it was, but that music was so like the whole scene was so good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I actually think it like if I had to rate the 3 parts, it goes in order. I think the first was the best, the second was the second best, the third was the third best.
So I read about not troubled, but how this movie came to be. It was essentially a mandate from Saban Entertainment, which was also responsible for like bringing Power Rangers to the U.S. They're like, we want to turn these 3 movies into theatrical releases, and then eventually they're like, make it one. And so they were working on this simultaneously with producing, like, developing season 2 of Digimon the series. And so like this sort of makes sense as a bridge between those, but then when you like watch it, if it came out before the second series came out, it's like
it didn't.
You go
the second series started earlier the year that the movie came out.
Oh.
This is why it's an important fact that it didn't come out in 2002. It came out in 2000.
Fair. Okay. So
he's not gonna let it go.
So the voice of Tentomon, who's the bug guy.
I love Tentomon. Go on.
I do. I love his personality.
Izzy's Izzy's Digimon, voiced by a guy named Jeff Nimoy. He was like the guy who voice directed season 1, was going to do season 2, and he was put in charge of making this a movie. And so they watched all 3 movies. Like,
the voice actor was?
He was the voice director. Yeah.
Okay.
And he just happened to play Tentomon too?
Yeah. I don't know.
That feels like a weird
work.
spot.
Yeah, I
think he was voice director, and then maybe like
they just needed someone to step in, and he had
a
small Tentomon role, and he just happens to be the head honcho.
So,
that's so funny.
So he was tasked with putting together a story. It's not really based on the plot of the 3 movies. It's just like they watched these 3 movies, tried to arrange and edit it together into like something that looked like a coherent thing, and then they wrote the script. So it's like it really was stitched together, and I think they did a pretty phenomenal job. Like
that means the Japanese versions, like the individual versions of these, are probably a bit different. I'm guessing the third one is a lot different, and so like the narration is probably different.
Mm-hmm.
I think had the most scenes where characters could be talking and you didn't directly see their mouths moving. I noticed that. I was like, you'd see the back of their head. Yeah. I was like, geez. So this probably is so different.
As it gets more popular worldwide, they're like, show their mouths less. And there's like even like so many popular anime characters that have their mouth covered all the time with like some sort of thing. And you're like, I know what you're doing.
I don't think Willis is technically part of any of them until 3, like the third one.
He doesn't join the second crew?
No, like, you know how like in the second part, they're like, oh, I hate this. They're like, Izzy's like, oh, I'm emailing with the second grader who takes college classes and
blah,
blah, blah. I'm like, 1, how are you in contact? 2, like,
and
I don't
you
know.
Never see him in the movie. You're right. That's probably
I don't think he's part of the second one originally.
It's all translation.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's interesting. And
I'm
that makes a lot of sense. Whereas
I
I think in the third one, I don't think Kokomon was infected with the virus. We never see the virus again. And so I think that's just like the way they try to wrap it all into one story.
Well, yeah, the connective tissue that Jeff Nimoy, Tentomon voice actor, noticed was there are Digi-Eggs in all 3 of these. Like that's what they based their whole story on. It's like, okay, we got to write something about all this.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it does all start with a Digi-Egg. I mean, what this movie, I think, nailed is like, this is like such a technologically driven society, but this was 23 years ago. Like, they don't even know where technology-driven society is going. But like, this captured like an era of technology that like I'm a little nostalgic for, like the dial-up internet and the, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. They're like, wait, everyone's emailing us.
Yeah,
The Wi-Fi, like not the Wi-Fi. There was not Wi-Fi.
No,
the
there's no
connections
Wi-Fi,
were
yeah.
too loaded.
Yeah. Just like the windows that popped up and like the old like hourglass icon. I was like, oh yeah, I missed that shit.
Windows 98.
But now that you mention it, I'm like, I was also watching this and I'm like, how the heck? Well, one, there are so many plot holes, but I was like, how is Izzy connecting to one? Why is it the U.S.
satellite?
Yeah, no, but it's the U.S. It's not even the Japanese like military satellite. One, it's the U.S. one.
It's so they could
Two,
work in the U.S. plot line.
I know. But I was like, out of all the ones you dial into the U.S., but then thinking about it, okay, this is like you said, like 20-something years later or early. Of course, that younger generation is going to know exactly how to do all that stuff. Like, think about how when new stuff comes out, these junior high kids or these high school kids know exactly how to manipulate and like get everything to exactly what they want. Like,
the iPad
it takes us so much longer. Yeah.
I mean, the first scene was actually, it was like a short made that debuted before Digimon the first season came out.
It's the prerequisites. I mean, besides the Tamagotchis, that's the
Yeah.
Okay, Tamagotchi then this movie.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think like the first two segments work beautifully. It's like you get this flashback that plants Digimon lore even further into these characters who we've already met, already become familiar with.
I think that's what's fun too, is like the look back, if that makes sense.
And it's been a part of their lives, and then you jump forward and you get them after their main adventure in Digimon Season 1. And it's like a summer reunion, like summer vacation.
They're back in the real world, which is how the first season ends. They do get back to the real world.
Yeah.
And so I love the continuity, consistency, as lame as that sounds. Like all three of these movies still actually work with their series, which is really good. And it's something Pokemon is horrible at. So that is one thing I appreciated. As I was like, oh yeah, these fit all their stories they're doing. This is cool.
Yeah. But if you had to describe the threat, this is where it gets weird. I feel like the main
which part?
In the middle
first part?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's move. So
middle
first part, giant monster attack. They all see it. It's a great scene. Though.
Love it.
Honestly,
yeah.
It's awesome.
It's so the fighting
set the tone almost too high. This is, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick, and then it slowly dropped off. So we're moving to the second part, though. Let's move to the second part because I actually think this second part works great for the most part.
It's a virus, but born from
Izzy
the
discovered
digital.
it. It's like,
So,
whatever.
I don't know.
Why
I
is
wasn't
this kid- how does
following
he-
this movie whatsoever. I'm just here for the vibes. I was like, none of this is making sense.
It's a Digimon egg that got a computer virus.
But a lot more people can see it, not just like the Digidestin. Like it's not. It's like I don't know if it starts in Japan or where it starts, but you start seeing it pop up on other people's computers or like monitors. So it's like expanding. I don't know, but where does it come from?
Like
I don't know.
A porn pop-up
Apparently,
that won't
Willis
go
says
away.
sorry at the end. I was thinking about that too. I'm like, where the heck does this egg virus come from? And there's only one line that might wrap it up, and it's like Willis emails Izzy and goes, "Sorry, this is all my fault," or something like that.
He created,
but they
the
never
egg.
tell you. They end up telling you, right? That he
He
tries to
in
create
the
a
third
Digimon?
movie, they do
Yes,
explain
that's it.
he created the egg because he was a lonely kid and he had 2 Digimon, but instead of 2,
Selfish
he
and wanted
wanted
another.
3. So he made a Digi
Selfish
egg
bastard.
and it caught a computer virus.
Yes.
Which I
that's
wonder
right.
how they explain it in the one because there is no Willis in like the original short movie. So I'm curious how they explain it. Although they do have like flashes of young Willis dancing, but no other scenes. So that's got to be
but
from the
that
third movie they
animation-
like took.
Yes.
But here's one thing I thought was so interesting. Tell me if I'm alone in thinking this. So there's the digital world where they go there, they travel there, they do their whole thing. But in the movie, there's a scene where the Digimon leave the digital world to go to the internet.
Yeah.
Is that not the same place? I don't know. Like that feels. I always thought the digital world was the internet.
Yeah. And then the one guy says something about his modem. I'm like, wait, a modem? Aren't you on the internet? Like, I don't know. It's like
It's meta.
Yeah.
it's a,
I think the internet is the digital world is a world in and of itself. It's separate from
Is it like a
the
Minecraft?
internet.
It's its
Yeah,
own universe.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Minecraft world. I just thought that was like really an interesting distinction that they made because I just always thought it was like getting uploaded to a virtual internet connected reality. I don't know. It's
And
cool.
then they like go through those tunnels, which is that them getting uploaded into another segment
Those are
of
the
the internet?
cords. Yeah,
Those are the Ethernet
Or I thought the
Ethernet
cords.
cables.
Yeah.
There, back in the day, do you remember? I think there was like Timmy Turner did it, where he went through the internet and he was like going through like the wires. And then I'm also thinking of like a
Is
Scooby
that
Doo
Wreck-It
movie.
Ralph?
Wreck-It Ralph
Two?
does the
Wreck-It
same
Ralph,
thing.
Yeah, there's a good visual.
There's like a Scooby Doo movie where they get chased in cyberspace and they always are flying through
Oh,
Ethernet cables
yeah.
and cords. That was like the aesthetic back then. That was how every artist was like, okay, need to go into the
Our
internet.
childhood.
I know. But it's funny because like kids nowadays, it's like that classic, like how we do the phone like this, and you ask like a kid and they hold their phone, like you're like, do a phone with your hand, and they go like this because it's like an iPhone. Yeah. Oh yeah. You haven't seen those TikToks of parents asking their kids? Oh, it's
No.
devastating.
Devastating.
It's devastating to watch. Yeah, so this is our daily pitch to go watch our YouTube. Yeah, the parents will be like, pretend hold a phone just with your hand. They'll either go like this or like this. And you're like, oh, that hurts. Like, why wouldn't you just, yeah.
The other thing I've seen is that like the banana phone bit doesn't track with the younger
doesn't track
generations
anymore,
because it
yeah.
doesn't.
So I just think that's like always interesting
That's
because
sad.
now they'd be like, well, it's like Wi-Fi, like it's in the air, like it's probably more. And you're like, no, it was a cable at one point. It was literally fiber optics. They ran underneath the earth, and some houses had better internet than other just because of your location.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So the middle segment though is where we spend the most time with the cast that we sort of know and love from season one. Do you guys have favorites? Like I had a tough time remembering
let's do
all
it.
of the
Yeah.
characters and all the
Oh.
Digimon.
I think you could have like a different like character and Digimon, or they could be
I
the
agree.
same. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I'm curious to hear what you guys think though. So let's start with characters.
I don't know. I'm a Thai fanboy.
I fucking knew Evan was gonna say that. I should have wrote it down. I knew
What?
he was gonna be like, Ty. Like not
great.
Ty is good though.
Ty's great though. I can't like the goggles. Like I don't know. He's just great. I love everything about Ty. So it's
He's
not
very
a bad pick.
animated in this movie too. Like I don't know. There's
He's funny in this
I like
movie. This
Izzy.
middle part's really funny in
Yeah.
my opinion. Ty's
Courtney,
good.
You were saying you like Izzy?
I think I like Izzy, and then I also like Kari too. I think as
Kari
the
like
seasons
joins
go
them
on,
later.
Yes, but then like you kind of see her and Gatomon like kind of evolve, and she's kind of got like a whole backstory lore to her, like on
Yeah.
both of them, and like that's why she I don't think it goes into these movies, but she sometimes has these weird connections with Digimon or like the digital universe for
She
like
does.
You remember so
And
much
she-
more than like shit.
No,
Now,
she,
like,
Oh,
I really
really?
do want to go
She's
back.
like the chosen one. She has like a special
Yeah.
connection with Digimon.
Yes. And that's like I kind of like her, but I think I liked her more towards the second.
She becomes
maybe
more of a
I don't
player.
know.
in
I
the
have to
second
remember.
One. Yeah, yeah.
I really like them all.
They
Like
all-
it just kind of depends.
What I think they'd have great is we didn't even get all of them in this, but they all have such
No.
distinct personalities. Like
Mhm.
they all are. I don't know how to describe it. Like they're all like they feel like real kids almost. You know what I mean? Like they feel like a friend group kind of, which is really great. Like they have two smart guys in like Joe and Izzy, but they're like different smarts. If that like
Yeah.
it's interesting. So Izzy's really great. Izzy could be my favorite character, but then I just always remember how cool
Matt?
Matt is. Yeah.
I know,
I
man.
knew you
damn
would
it.
say that shit.
We
Okay,
know each other
so-
so well, Evan.
Right. So would you say Digimon probably does when it comes to like I know we should not really compare Digimon and Pokemon, but I'm
No,
just
we have
curious.
to.
Do you think the personalities in Digimon are more developed and have more depth than Pokemon, or
Yeah. And here's what they do really well,
I
which
think
a
that's
lot
why
of
I liked Digimon more. Yeah.
Hmm.
which a lot of anime don't do. It's funny, it's supposed to be like the male counterpart to Tamagotchi, because I think the female representation in this anime is like actually unmatched compared to anime, where in most animes you are going to have one girl character, and generally it's like a love interest, or if not, then there's like a second one and there's like a love interest then a main character girl. This one had three girls, and I guess technically there's like some shipping going on, and then 4 if you add Kari to the main cast. And so that just like an anime as a genre is not very typical.
And all the girls have totally different personalities. Like,
Yeah.
Sora's kind of more of a tomboy.
Did the US change her name to Sarah?
No, I think it's I think it's Sora. Did I
Is
say
it? Okay,
Sarah?
okay. No. The movie, they called her Sora the whole time. But in my brain was like, God, I thought her name was Sarah. And I'm wondering if I'm just like a dumb kid who like...
No,
that was
she's
your
one of the
dumb
only
American
ones they didn't
ass.
change.
Only me. I'm trying to blame American execs again, and it was just me.
Honestly, Alex, I think she's the only one who they don't technically change, like names. I
Oh.
think she's Sora in the Japanese and the American one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Maybe.
I just my dumb American ears missed it.
Sarah. But anyways, like you said, the females all have like really different personalities. So maybe that's why I liked it too. Like I didn't just have just Misty to like hold on to.
Yeah.
Like I had 3-4 different female characters to
Mhm.
kind of latch to. But
I think now that you mention it, like that is one of the cool things about the series and this movie is like there were more interesting dynamics than Pokemon, which was like Brock is horny. Like this one you get like you get not only Ty and Kari, but Matt and TK, is that his name? His
TK,
little brother?
yeah.
yes.
And
Yeah,
I
you get the sibling relationship from both of them. Yeah.
And you get that throughout the series as well. It's like there were those dynamics of like they would look out for him, sometimes be annoyed by the younger siblings, and like
It's a very realistic big brother, little brother dynamic they show. And I not recently, maybe like 2 years ago, I watched like a couple episodes randomly. And one of them, I was like, this is deep. Like, this is like some serious like relationship episode shit. I was like, wow, Digimon.
Izzy's adopted. TK and
Yeah.
Matt's parents are divorced or split up. Like they have
Which
different
back then
last
is-
names,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah. Just like all these random, really deep things that us as like 8-10-year-olds like wouldn't comprehend too much, but still, like, I don't know. I really enjoy that they kind of go and give them actual like lives outside of Digimon and
Mhm.
problems outside of that and kind of intertwine it.
They
So,
made something that was supposed to be about like digital monsters, like really human. Like it's the story is like a very
Mhm.
human story. They're like, I just want to get home. They're like scared kids by the end of it. And it's like
Yeah.
a very good portrayal of like they're frustrated. They give up a couple times. It's good. I really enjoyed the anime.
Mhm.
I kind of want to rewatch it now.
Yeah.
Let's fire it up. Even
Fucking go.
even in the movie though, like just in the middle segment, they're on summer vacation or whether they're all separate, and it's just like such a vibe of like back in those days, not everyone had a mobile device.
Oh yeah,
In
right.
the summer,
yes.
you might not, unless you like lived pretty close with, or like your
Your friend
parents were
group could
shuttling you
change.
around.
So over
like-
the summer.
It was like writing wartime letters until like AIM came around, you know, just like
emails.
Exactly.
No, and that was why
Yeah.
at first I was like, that's kind of weird. He wants her. She's like waiting for an email from him. But then I like thought more about it. And I was like, oh, no, it's not. If they're not at school, not at all. That's like very typical.
it did make me think of like what would what would the threat look like if this movie were written in 2023? It's just
That's what I was thinking.
like Elon Musk.
But like it would
on
probably be like because
Xmon.
everything's connected to Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
so your whole house or like city would just glitch. But it kind of glitched in the movie too. I don't know.
I think they
I
had a
don't know.
pretty accurate representation of like where the technology driven society was going to go. They were like, supermarkets are failing. Like they didn't have that the digital currency was going to be as big as it was, but they got to the same point almost. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that this middle portion was really good in that also it had fucking nukes. Like the villain was like, I'm gonna nuke Colorado,
Yeah,
your
that's
home. And like you never see that in Pokemon.
and no country could.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
like
get that at McDonald's.
I looked down at my
Obviously
phone,
pre-2001.
and then there were missiles flying. When I looked back up, I was like, "What did I just miss?"
You're like, this villain means business. You're like, he's calling
And my favorite
Iron
is-
Man, not the Digi-Destins.
Okay, but you have to remember. Okay, season 1, they are like 11 and 12 or 13.
They're
Mhm.
young, yes. And I do also
So-
like they have different ages. They're not all the same age, which is cool.
So we're relying on 12, 13-year-olds to stop missiles.
And they
But
did.
that's another plot point. Like,
Evan said,
plot
and they
hole.
did.
No, yeah, but that didn't make sense. It was like with 10 seconds left. How does the coordinate like change after 10 seconds? I was like,
They
what?
stopped the propulsion, and then it fell in the ocean.
And then it just happens to fall into whatever body of water
I also
there
think
was.
from its height, like in all honesty, from its height, if it hit water, it would probably explode.
Oh, I know. I was like, it would be like everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
it would not be good. That would be equally as bad. But the whole time I was like, the stakes are on. I was
Yep.
like, I'm in it.
It's also fun.
But then like everyone's parents are like, yeah, whatever. Like nobody else
they're doing the
thinks anything's
countdown.
wrong.
They're like 1 minute left, 1 minute left, and then the mom's like at the microwave, 1 minute left. Classic humor. I'm telling you, there's so many funny lines in this.
Like the egg part where he's like, the egg is
The egg.
hatched. And Ty's like,
Ty's got an egg.
Ty is such a good character. Like that stuff is so, he's kind of like an air, like the a himbo kind of, you know?
He was the
He's
first
just
himbo.
such an airhead.
First
He like
himbo.
looks at the egg and he's like, not that egg.
I do
I mean, I
think
don't
though,
blame him.
of the main cast, they had a good dynamic between him and Izzy. They probably picked the two best ones. He couldn't even get his sister to come help. She was. I'm at a very important. Oh, I'm doing the phone wrong. I'm at a very important birthday party. She's like, I can't.
I volunteered to get sawed in half. Like,
He goes, make sure the bottom half runs home as quick as possible. He's so
one-liners are
witty.
so
Yeah,
good.
he's so witty.
that voice actor is just his, I don't know, his inflection or something is so good. I really enjoyed
His
that.
name is Joshua Seth. He also voices a character. I think the character's name is Kaneda in Akira, which is a much lauded, one of the
Yeah.
greatest films of all time.
Did you mention? Okay, no, go on. Sorry.
We got to
Akira's
recover it on this
one of our
podcast.
lost podcasts.
That's one of our lost podcasts.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think you. Okay.
The lore of two dudes
Which,
before
I don't know
happened.
if we agreed to it, but
I think
we're
it is.
gonna
It could
do
be
it
next. Actually,
It could
yeah,
be
I
next.
think
So
it's what we're doing.
gonna watch
This is a
it.
nice teaser.
Yeah.
We're recovering it. Re-recording it. Evan and I are wannabe movie critics. We're also wannabe chefs.
We're all doing more cooking at home now. If you want to elevate your home cooking, you need nice tools to do it. Louis Kitchenware will get you there. They have beautiful stainless steel pans, non-stick bakeware, knives, all the stuff you need. Safe, high-quality materials, constructed to last, made in the United States, founded in Detroit.
Moving into my condo, we got hand-me-downs. So this new Louis Kitchenware has been great, and we love the discount. We want to share that with our listeners.
You can use code 2DUDES, that's TWO dudes, at louiskitchenware.com, and that'll give you 10% off anything on the site.
Check out our link in bio.
Yeah, there is a lot of this stuff that's thrown in as like dialogue. When Izzy first comes over, he's just like, he's being polite, taking everything that Ty's
The
mom
offers.
him, and then he has like diarrhea later on. And it's just like, it's just this weird thing. Like,
You said
just-
diarrhea on a podcast.
It's not our first
It's
time, and it
so
won't be our last.
it's so subtle and so funny because he's just like happily taking things, and you see Ty ignore
She
all
goes,
of. She's like,
Who wants my beef jerky smoothie? These are what I call translation jokes. They
Yeah.
like went over
And
the top.
exactly
she goes,
what it
"Oh,
is."
my spinach cookies. You could try one later." I was like, "What the fuck food is Ty's mom making?"
and Izzy's
But guys,
just
this
eating
is
it
not
up.
the first poop joke either.
Yeah.
There was like, it wasn't Agumon.
Oh yeah,
but
the one before Agumon. We missed it
Yes,
with
his,
poop
like,
on
baby
the
form.
floor.
Twice. Wait, were the 2000 or 90s, 2000 just always poop jokes? Like, what the heck?
Okay,
That
I
is
do.
so funny.
I was looking through Rotten Tomatoes reviews earlier because I think for the most part they're way unfair generally. But this one is kind of funny. It was a Rotten review. It says, "Film is strictly for kiddies. There's not that many grown-ups who would stand for monsters going at each other yelling fart power or whatever it is they're saying." This is from like 2000.
That is not what they're saying, good sir.
They're not. I was like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Power. Yeah, but they just hear. That's so funny.
But here's the other thing, though. Like, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, the critic consensus, like the summation of all of these Rotten reviews from back in the day, is Digimon is better than Pokemon, the movie. Ooh, maybe that's a question I should pose to you. But it's still a predictable movie with mediocre animation. and I just can't disagree with that more. Yeah, the weakest was maybe the last segment, and that was that was just what the TV
too
series
quick. Honestly, I
animation
think it was too quick.
was.
Like the third one didn't have enough.
The pacing
depth
was
to, like
off. Yeah.
But
there was something
animation-wise,
off about it.
the
No,
first two segments are incredible, especially the first
Gorgeous.
one.
Yeah.
I was in awe. I like even what did you say 20 years ago? Like this was 20 years ago, and the animation still holds up so well.
Yeah.
Like
No, I agree.
The sad thing is, like, that's probably the best it will ever be. Again,
Yeah. I think
in a mass market product, like hand drawn animation, especially, like, you're not going to get big budgets. Hopefully, we'll get some more stuff like that, but
it's just not where it was 20 years. Like that market is just not where it was 20 years ago. So you're just not going to get that budget you need.
Yeah, but like I just can't fathom that criticism that the animation is mediocre. Like that's the one thing you probably couldn't touch about this movie. Other ones, I'll say sure, why not? Yeah, other criticisms are pretty valid.
So, like I said though, I this is tough. While we're talking about just Pokemon versus this, like, while this was a little more disconjointed, and not as like an event like as the Pokemon movie, I felt like I had a better time during this movie though. Like the first two sections were bumping, and the third one wasn't bad enough for me to be like snooze. But like I think that's probably the problem is the ending. People that's what people remember is how they feel when it ended. But man, the first two, and it might be more than 2/3 because the middle part is way long. But that shit was great.
Yeah, I agree.
It didn't end, like you said, the third didn't end on a high as much as the other two.
No.
And I don't know if it just wasn't long enough. We didn't get enough depth. Like I got chills in the first two.
Yeah.
Third, I remember liking the third when I was younger. I think because the animation was a little brighter. I really liked the new characters.
Digimon they have in the third in the third one.
They're so
Their
cute.
new Digimon are great.
Any of the faults,
I like their design.
Yeah, any of the faults in the third segment can be forgiven because of that little rabbit guy with the machine guns for hands wearing jeans. I fucking love that guy.
Now.
Evan, that's my favorite one.
That's
New
my
and
favorite
old. He is my favorite one. When he popped up, he's flying with his giant ears and he's got machine gun hands. I said, this is peak Digimon. I go,
this is cinema.
This is perfect. I literally was in awe watching this rabbit fly around shooting things. I was like, this is beautiful.
It was. And that's what Digimon, like, oh man.
That's what Digimon's about, is rabbits flying around shooting machine gun hands.
With jeans on.
With jeans on. No, but you're so right, the jeans, because even Willis goes, as soon as he digivolves, Willis's first line, he's got jeans now.
Is that what he said?
Like, not the machines for hands, the jeans. The jeans are what he points out, not the machine gun hand.
That's unfucking believable. How I literally was like, this is my favorite Digimon. I liked it when I was a kid too, but I feel so much more strongly about it now, I think.
Yeah, Terriermon. I don't know what the machine gun ones' names are, but Terriermon is just
cute
in general.
Gorogomon. It's
Denimon.
Gorogomon or something. Denimon.
Denimon. Levi-mon.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you said that. But I also really like Armadillomon and Digimon, whatever. They were great too, I thought. Hawkmon is great, and Vmon for being a little plain. Like when he uses the armor to digivolve, that was where I like fully caught on that this was a separate movie. When they were armor digivolving, I was like, they took zero time to explain that to the audience.
Yeah.
You're like, why can he go from champion level to like two different things?
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
that's
what
weird.
the hell are these? They rode him.
I was like, oh yeah.
It was like he goes, I'm the storm of friendship. I was like, this is a total different Digimon than the one we were just watching.
Yeah.
The Fire of Courage. All of his Digi-Evolutions had like pseudo names.
But it all comes back to you after you like remember watching. You're
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, they like armor digivolve.
Yeah, they got
you
little
know? They had to keep it
armors.
fresh after each episode or each season. You know.
Yeah.
The greatest travesty or crime that this movie committed is introducing Omnimon. A Digimon we'll never see again. Or I don't know if it pops back up in the series.
You're
but
so right. Oh yeah.
Evan, it does.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so this is actually why we're probably recording this podcast, because Evan added me on Letterboxd and saw me watching the new Digimon movie and called me out for it.
Oh my God, someone asked me when I said, oh, we're recording Digimon, they're like, the new one? I was like, no, what?
There's like a try, which the try ones are not good. The plot is so bad. I could not tell you. I know there's like a Makomon and that's like about it. There's 6 movies of like no plot, but Omnimon shows up there multiple times. So he does come back.
Okay, I got to watch this.
But apparently there's another one that Evan, probably someone was referring to you. It's like one that actually everyone's raving about. I think it's got like 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I was going to say, I think there's like a new one that people are like crazy about at the moment. Maybe we'll have to check that out too.
But so, one.
Bringing it back now, so to the middle portion, they're fighting this virus. I think the virus monster also looks Datamon,
nightmares,
or what was it, Infomon?
Diaboromon?
Yes.
That's Diaboromon's, I think, the last one. Yeah.
Infomon.
But the Infomon, where it's got like the spider legs and it's jumping around and shit, that was terrifying. And then, but you bring up Omnimon, and I think this is like, so this is what really, I think, separates like Digimon and Pokemon. I mentioned to you the animators of Digimon really had an open canvas to be like, do whatever you want. And I think that's why we get like 9, 10 Digi-Evolutions, and there's no real logic to it. Like, they always go back to like the 3rd, you know what I mean? Not their baby form. You're like, well, why don't they go all the way back down? And like, why are they only going back to Agumon? He has 2 before that. And so I think with their leniency on the rules, that's how you get sick shit like Omnimon, where they're like, fuse them. Fuse them.
I know, so random. Like,
no, we've never gotten any precedent that they can fuse. We don't get a method where they like learn to fuse. They're just like, together we'll defeat them. It's great. It's great.
Random. So random. But they can do shit like that because
there's no rules.
They have no rules. You can Digivolve back, like
whatever they want it to be.
Sideways, diagonal, anyway.
Vmon has like 4 or 5 different ones that he does. Yeah, I'm into it. I love no rules. At first, I think as a kid, that probably was something I wasn't crazy about, was the lack of consistency. As an adult, I see the freedom in that.
You were just by the book, Brizard. Like,
a little bit, yeah. I'm a stickler for the rules. I don't want to be that guy. No, but I was confused. I distinctly remember being like, why don't they Digivolve back into their smallest one? Like, why is Agumon like the stopping point?
That much energy. They didn't lose that much energy.
They didn't lose that much Digi energy.
Yeah.
Digimon
we didn't
never
talk
really
about the
die.
Digi-Device, which is just a Tamagotchi that they're like, this will help your Digimon Digivolve.
Which I did not connect that until you said, this is from the Tamagotchi people. I was like, no shit, Courtney. It literally looks like that. Like, how did I never connect that?
They were like,
I think I had a second generation one.
Oh,
I'm going to eBay this later.
Yeah.
I don't know if we touched on it at the beginning. This movie is currently kind of hard to find.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
unless you have a
streaming
VHS.
Anywhere. So, you know, we had to dig through old DVD or VHS collections to watch this legally, which we did. But yeah, through the hunt for it, we have discovered that this company called Discotech has just gotten the rights to re-release Digimon the movie, because it's not streaming anywhere right now, and they're going to include dubs with the original voice cast for the 3 original films as they are.
Oh,
so we can get a fuller picture. So this was announced July this year or August this year.
Yeah,
so that's pretty fucking cool. And I'll buy that just so I don't have to hunt for this movie
100%.
again. Yeah,
100%.
It's the first 2 parts of this are worth it to me. I love, and I think it's such a small detail, but I knew instantly because I remember the movie so well. But the first thing Izzy does, they're like, let's go to our dad's computer. That also just brought me so much memories back. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and he's like,
yes.
be careful with my dad's. He goes, he really likes his junk everywhere. Like, you know what I mean? So it's classic jokes. But when they move the computer to the ground, I was just like, yeah, they're getting into it now. Like, it's so fun to me.
It's just such a 90s kid thing.
It's a
just,
vibe.
you had to be there, guys. You had to.
It was
be
a different
there.
time. It was literally a different time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like trying to describe walking through Blockbuster to someone who never would have seen it. You're just like, it's just a small joy.
This was rented a lot at Family Video.
Oh,
honestly.
Yeah.
You couldn't find it at Family Video, so you had to buy it on your own.
Yeah, I don't know that I saw this in theater, so I must have rented
I don't
this
think I did.
at some point.
No, I think I had it. I think I owned it, to be fair.
I probably got into it too late for my age.
There's never a wrong time.
Like 6th grade.
Yeah.
I had a girl who babysat me, and she was like, showed me so many anime, but she was like my gateway into anime. I didn't have any
Good
older
for her.
siblings. Like,
Yeah.
I know you did, Evan, and stuff, but I didn't have anyone to bring me into the anime world.
Yeah.
So she kind of like opened the store for me, and my eyes were huge. I loved it. So Digimon was one I definitely stuck with.
So I was doing the anime before 6th grade, but 6th grade was probably like the peak of my anime watching. That's like where I'm like scrubbing the internet for like unreleased, like not released American episodes of Naruto. I was like weekly like watching Japanese versions of Naruto with like the captions on the bottom. And so
risking any and all sorts of viruses just to stay up.
LimeWired it.
That computer was trashed. And literally, I knew why. You know, it's one of those things, too. You're just like, yeah, well, I got to go through it. You click out of all the ads. I knew where they all were. Like, you know what I mean? I had a whole system.
Like, our parent probably thought we were watching porn, and we were just watching Japanese versions of anime.
But I would try to hide it, too. Yeah, I would try to hide it because I thought it was
No, Mom, I was watching porn.
No, no. It was girls dancing. I don't know what you're talking about. Not animated girls dancing, I swear.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, our generation of parents would have, well, at least mine would have, like, they're just really, like, suburb white boomers. They would have been like, what's anime? Like,
fuck.
so yeah,
Courtney,
it was embarrassing.
You think my parents are proud to tell people I have a podcast called Two Dudes Watch Cartoons? The answer is no.
Yeah.
They don't tell people that part of the story.
Daryl was telling people that at 1 o'clock I was selling feet pics, so that's what he thought was a better option.
A better cover than this.
Yeah. It's our dirty little secret. Referring to myself as a podcaster feels self-deprecating for some reason.
Well, you have to follow up. They're like, what do you podcast about? Cartoons.
Oh. Sometimes you do live action.
I
you do live action.
Yeah, but those are always stretches. Yeah, but like,
I know.
If I could just end it at like, oh yeah, I podcast, and people would be like, cool, 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 but they always ask what it's about. I'm kidding,
it's about
everyone.
Porn, I swear, it's about porn.
It's a porn podcast. Oh, that's good.
Two dudes watch.
Yeah, but it goes like to the Pornhub ding, like ring ding.
But to bring this all back to Digimon, maybe this is why I hold this movie in such high regard. It's just like the Omniman moment. Like, seeing that again gives me chills to this day.
So impractical. He spits a sword out of one hand and a cannon out of the other, which is, so it's like Greymon, which, let's talk about this. Greymon is like horribly named. Why would he be named Greymon?
I think
that happens a lot.
I think there was like a gray version of him. I feel like in the series there was like
his fire did turn gray. That was the only thing I thought was his fire then was like kind of whitish gray. But I was like, there are way more gray Digimon than you, dude. I was like, you're red.
Orange.
Yeah, you're
yellow.
red and orange.
Yeah.
There was like Greymon, and then he turns into Skull Greymon. Wait, or no, Metal Greymon.
No, it's Metal Greymon.
Metal.
And then
another
Metal Greymon.
Metal Garu. No. Yeah.
Then there's War Garurumon. I love Garuru. I like Matt and his whole shtick. I like what he's got going on.
Too.
But it is funny because the progression of Agumon is like, he's kind of looks like Charmander. Let's just put it out there. He's like a little bit of an allegory for Charmander. He turns into Charmeleon, Charizard, whatnot. And then And then it just final evolution is like buff guy with like armor on.
But that's not even the weirdest evolution. There's literally like ones that like Patamon goes from like a gerbil with wings to like
To an
a full-on
angel.
man
God.
angel.
Those are the ones that
Yeah.
actually bug me, where like I'm okay if you start to
Oh, no, I
lose
love
it in the
that.
progression. No. And I guess I should tempt this with, I know like so many Digimon fans, that's like their favorite. Like those are like, oh no, those are my
Yeah.
favorite Digimon. For me, those ones, like, I don't know. I think I need like a middle step, I feel like, between
Yeah.
Patamon and his final angel form. That feels like Metal War Greymon to me. You know what I mean?
No, that's your Pokemon bias. That's your Pokemon bias, okay?
It really
It doesn't
is.
need to make
There's
that
no
much
rules
sense.
though in Digimon. There's no rules, and I
There's
think
no-
that's part of the fun.
Especially
But
with
Especially when you see a
Vmon.
Digimon evolve for the first time, because you're like Digimon, and then it and then it happens, and literally you could be like, holy fuck, I never would have guessed it looked like that, and you literally never would have gotten it.
Exciting.
Mhm.
Especially because I knew more of the evolves from season 1
Yeah.
when I started watching. But 2, like you said, with the crazy armor eggs
They don't
that they would
go
get,
super
those ones
high.
were really
Yeah.
no, but those ones were fresh for me. So it was fun seeing like
Yeah.
what Hawkmon would like go and evolve into, or Vmon would evolve into, because that was new. So like I said, they come out with these weird seasons, but I don't know. It's still, they try to keep it fresh, but I was eating it up as like a 11-year-old.
What's nice in
Like, it's-
02 though is the original cast is older, and you see them from time to time because Matt and TK
Mhm.
are siblings of 2 of the cast. So I think they actually do compared to a lot of animes, like a nice job blending the 2 almost. I got nothing but praise for Digimon. I'm a huge Digimon fan, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Courtney, you were saying you realized the rose-colored glasses you viewed this movie in on rewatch, correct? I feel the same way. Like I understand the criticisms, but this movie still rocks for me. Like
So, oh my god, the soundtrack alone.
was
Oh
incredible.
wait, oh no,
I would
let's
get
okay.
hype.
Let's
Every
talk about the
time
soundtrack.
A new song came on, I was like, "Dun-dun-dun-dun," on it. I was like
Well,
getting pumped. I could go
it's
run a
been
marathon right now.
1
Let's
week
go.
since you looked at me. When that fucking popped up, I about shit myself. It's like 6 in the morning in my house, and I laughed so loud. I was like, "Why is this here?"
Yeah.
Also, Apple Music released the soundtrack. It's not all the songs are on Apple Music.
That's a shame.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, they don't,
So-
but so
We need the whole soundtrack.
it's got a Bare Naked Ladies song, and
It's
it
got
has a
Bare Naked Ladies.
pre-Shrek use of All Star by Smash Mouth, the lead singer.
Digimon did it first.
Yeah, the lead singer who recently actually just passed away this week.
Rest in peace, forever
Yeah.
remembered in the Digiverse.
And the Shrek verse. But in all honesty, like, that song will live on. That song is so iconic. And it had,
Mhm.
that's one of those songs that had no business being as iconic as it got to.
No.
I was reading. I only skimmed it. It was like a thing about the Digimon soundtrack and how much of a banger it is. But it was like it described All Star by Smash Mouth as like a deeply American song. I was like, I've never thought of it that way.
I've never
like,
thought of
Wait,
it
me
that way.
neither.
It really
It
truly
probably
is
though.
It is.
an encapsulation of America in a weird way.
That is really, I've never considered it that,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
I don't hate it.
Represents America at that age,
Exactly.
right? That time.
Yeah.
It's a time capsule of the year 2000.
Yes.
It's fucking
It
sick.
really.
What's crazy also here is, while we're just talking about Smash Mouth, is like, that is like, maybe that's why a lot of people left this movie being like, what the hell? Because there's like this dramatic narration where Kari's like, "But Digimon never truly die. Their information just gets rearranged. And sometimes when they come back, they're not always singing the same tune. Hey now, you're an all-star." And he's dancing. And I was like, what? That's the end? Well, how
Yeah,
did
that's
that
literally
transition
the
from
end.
something so epic to something so goofy?
That scene was probably in the middle of the Japanese version, and they just took it out of.
You're so right. They were like, how do we end this? They're like, well, that scene of Kokomon dancing, actually.
They're like, We have the rights to All Star. How can we put that in our movie?
Oh my God, you're so right, because this was so botched together, because they show like the egg washing up on the shore and then he's running down the path and we never see him connect with the egg. And I was like, that's weird. They left that out. And I'm now just piecing together. They are like really probably chopping and dicing this third one to fit the narrative.
The funny thing about the Bare Naked Ladies one, though, is like they have 1 week. One of the greatest needle drops of all time.
Oh my God.
They also have that Fatboy Slim song, right about now. The funk's so rubber.
Oh,
the soundtrack blew my mind. I was like, what?
So good.
Yeah.
But then they have originals.
Mhm.
Like they have a Digi-Rap and they have another one, which I can't remember
Hey,
when
Digimon?
it was.
The funny
Hey Digimon.
the funny thing about that one, I was like, so they play 1 week by BNL, and then a couple minutes later, it's like, hey, Digimon, and it sounds like Bare Naked Ladies. And I think this song, and it's not Bare Naked Ladies. I looked it up, and I was like, no way Bare Naked Ladies wrote an original for the Digimon, the movie. And no, I think it's the guy who wrote the Digi-Rap or the Digimon theme song, like whoever just works on Digimon, the American TV series or music, was probably asked, hey, make a song that sounds like Bare Naked Ladies, but it's about Digimon.
But it's about Digimon.
Pretty accurate. He's spot on.
So good.
It almost sounds like the same song.
Good.
What was also really cute was in the very first one, and this is actually crazy to me that they did this, but Kari with her whistle to the tiny one like whistles the tune. They whistle it back and forth kind of to each other, the tune of the theme song. I was like, that's great. This is before the TV show. That's like an amazing little thing they were able to work in.
Cute.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This movie fucking rocked.
Wait, can I ask from your memory, is Willis ever in the series after this?
He has to be, because Terriermon is... Oh, maybe not.
Terriermon is, but it's not with Willis.
No, it has to be. Why wouldn't it be with Willis?
No.
What?
It's not. No, it's not.
Okay, hold on.
Look up season 3.
No, I think he'd be in season 2.
He is. No. Look up season 3. Terriermon's in there. It's a whole different cast. There's only 3 kids. And Terriermon's in there, but he's not with Willis.
I don't see him in 02. So that's fair. But to be fair, he does live in America and they do not. Oh my God, there's also in 02, and I don't know whose it is, but there's like a submarine with like a fish submarine with like a nose that is like a blade. I think that's Digimon almost, maybe again. Like another one, but holy shit, that looks cool. Yeah, I don't actually see him. Maybe he's not, and maybe he's just a movie character.
Yeah. It's just like, okay. Now what?
Yeah. Now what?
They just never talk about this again. The fact that they all went to America and then
that was my issue with the Pokemon movie, is Mewtwo wiped their mind at the end. And I was like, they just never speak of this again. They even run into another Mewtwo and they never address their adventure with Mewtwo the time he struck back.
Let's look at some Letterboxd reviews. We've heard the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
You've mentioned Rotten Tomatoes a couple times here. I think I want to do a breaking news. Okay. Never in the middle of an episode. We found some dirt on our favorite review website that it's shaken me to my core. I don't actually have it up in front of me. I was looking for it, but essentially there was a PR firm that has been manipulating Rotten Tomato scores for, I think it said close to a decade.
Of course.
5.
Of course. Like that explains so much.
5 years. Go ahead.
By paying critics directly. So the PR firm is called Bunker 15. This came out in Variety. They would, like, in so many words, like, make veiled insinuations that, like, hey, you should review this positively, and if they were going to write a bad thing, they would encourage them to put it on like not their main publication or whatever, and put it on like, a different site that their Rotten Tomatoes maybe
site,
doesn't
not Rotten
see.
Tomatoes. Oh.
Yeah.
So I know this will be controversial. I think this explains a lot of DC's horrible Rotten Tomatoes things. I'm not saying they shouldn't be bad, but some of them are like horrible when I don't necessarily agree with those. And I think, I'm going there. I think this is a conspiracy And I think it goes to the top of the people who got the money. Evan knows. Evan knew I was going to bring it here, and I know I'm way off track. But I thought that was some important news that, careful what, we're a victim of it. We bring up Rotten Tomatoes every single podcast, but we may need to be more critical in our future use of it.
It's just a flawed system. Obviously we disagree with a lot of the assessments, like for Pokemon the movie, which was 16%, for 16%. Digimon the movie, which is 24%.
But there's like a ton of cult classics that have like 15%.
Yeah,
So,
I know, but that's
you can't really gauge it to mean anything really.
I always look at audience reviews.
This is
like
the audience
Letterboxd
score.
Oh
no, it's a Digimon
the
movie.
critic score.
No, I thought it was critic.
The critic score.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
I'm an alarmist.
I like that.
It happens.
I like that about Letterboxd a little more. Is like you understand, like it's just an average of what like anyone can be on there, and I forgot what I was going to say.
That's probably the best way to do it.
Digimon, if you had to leave or delete one from the digital world that you can never access again, Digimon the movie or Pokemon the first movie?
Oh, just the movies?
Yeah, just the movies.
Oh no,
that's tough. Okay, I'm gonna say it's probably recency bias, but I'm bye Mewtwo. Get out of here, Mewtwo. I think the first two parts of this movie really carry it, and I think if it could have had a third part in that style where it was, I think if this was designed as one movie, maybe I'm giving it too much leniency in that matter, but I think if it was designed as one movie, it would be like phenomenal.
I agree. Courtney?
Well, rose-colored glasses. I love Digimon, and like I said, first two parts I thought were actually really well done compared to what they could have been. And the third was okay. It just went by too fast for me. But sometimes I have to remember this when it comes to kid movies. Sometimes the pacing has to be quick. You have to especially I was a kid with undiagnosed ADHD. I had to you have to be able to pay attention and
I need to see a new Digimon
quick, so
every 2 to 3 minutes, or I'm losing interest.
No, seriously, I need to be stimulated in this Digimon world constantly.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree.
I mean, I'm gonna pick Digimon. I watched Digimon more. I probably only, to be honest, watched the original Pokemon, and then I do really love the Pokemon movie. I saw it. That was the one I did see in theaters. I had a little Eevee toy.
If Evan had asked me about the one with the Lugia and 2 birds, we might have a different question. But Mewtwo can get the fuck out of here. I know.
Yeah. So Digimon on top, Pokemon movie on bottom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's okay.
That's 2 for 3.
Evan?
I gotta agree. On rewatch, yes, do I feel a similar nostalgia watching Pokemon the first movie?
Mm-hmm.
But the emotional highs of Omni-Man, I'm jizzing my pants over here. This is so great. When the little rabbit popped up with jeans on?
No, Evan, I was the same way about the rabbit with jeans.
You guys stop getting hard-ons for rabbits and jeans, guys.
I got so hype. I started cheering, I feel like.
Yeah. And I've been seeing TikToks or whatever, of the first flashback segment of Greymon fighting the parrot or whatever. And I was like,
Parrotmon.
This movie is more nostalgic for me. It brings out a lot of that childhood wonder and just a lot of that emotion for me, more so than Pokemon the first movie. So I'm sorry, Pokemon the movie, it's a consensus. You're out of here.
I also think this feels more like anime to me. Where Pokemon, I usually actually don't classify the Pokemon movies or show as anime. That just felt like a TV show to me. I don't know how to describe
procedural.
That. Yeah.
It's like police procedural.
Literally.
And the style, because I was rewatching the first season this week too, just to kind of recall stuff. Obviously, it's a different style than the movies, but yeah, even the style in the movies just feels so much more anime to me.
It's great.
It feels more adult almost too.
There was
I don't know,
nukes.
just so
it does feel
prettier.
more adult.
Yeah, come on. There was a rabbit in
There
pink.
was a rabbit in
Like,
pink.
You
what do
don't
you
get a
want from us?
Pokemon shooting machine gun rabbit hands. You just don't. I'm sorry.
I like kind of wonder, because we were just talking about Pokemon versus Digimon and the movie that's staying on top, but if they actually did the marketing and put the budget as high as Pokemon, what would Digimon be like? Where would we be like with
I
Digimon in
don't
America
know.
today?
I just think it's one of those things where, like, I don't think
What
there's
could have been?
anything you could have done, if that makes sense. Like, Pokemon
Yeah.
just caught on and Digimon didn't. Digimon was here 1st. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
just, it's a right time, right place, right whatever thing. Maybe Pokemon did spend more dollars in America, and maybe that's what ended up doing it. But I just think it's not like you could pinpoint, like, oh, well, Digimon did this where Pokemon did that, and that's why they're successful. I think it's like a lot of tiny things.
But like when it comes to Pokemon, I would pick a Ppokemon game over a Digimon.
All day.
Sure.
Like it makes
Yeah.
more sense. Like
I also think that's
know?
part of it is Pokemon. I think of Pokemon more as games than I do like the show. And
Yes,
so, like, if I'm
I
thinking
do
of a
too.
show, I think I like the Digimon anime probably better at this point than the Pokemon
Mhm.
anime. But like, my attachment for Pokemon is so much more than just like TV. It's like video games, cards. I got a drawer back here full of cards that I don't even use anymore. You know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
there were Digimon
just a
cards.
different
I had
level.
one friend
It's-
who had a ton of
they're
Digimon
different.
cards.
You
That's
know
what's
who has
also fun
Digimon
is
cards?
what?
This guy.
Yeah,
I got Digimon cards.
You did?
I stole 'em.
You stole them.
I was just saying, did you steal them from a kid on the bus?
Yeah, I did steal them from the kid on the bus.
Evan, you were kind of a bully.
I was kind of a terror. Sorry.
It's okay. I
What was great
too.
about the Digimon cards is because, like, Pokemon, it was like, oh, there's 151. Digimon, like I said, was just going it by the seat of their pants. They would just go. They didn't have like generations, so like you'd see a Digimon, you'd be like, whoa, what the fuck is? It's a giant hairball, like, you know what I mean? Like, whoa. There
Mhm,
was one that
mhm.
was a giant fireball head. Actually, no, it was maybe a fireman. Now that I'm thinking about it.
They had that in the seat.
Yeah,
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 they're
yeah.
just random. There's
But-
like,
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Perhaps it is because Digimon didn't achieve the success and has sort of
Mm.
faded into the past that we can look back on it so fondly.
That's maybe true. You got
'Cause,
points.
like, I
this
remember
could be
when-
a good transition to this letterbox review. 1 star.
Okay.
It says nostalgia should be illegal.
I know. That's like, I wonder
Actually,
how
it's
it
no
feels like. That's what I was like
stars.
hoping.
No, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh,
I didn't either. It's 1 heart.
know
It's
either.
got a heart but no stars.
Wow.
so they loved it.
Yeah, they loved
but
it, but they were
didn't
like
rate
let
it.
down by watching it again. But then this
That's
was
what I was
still
hoping, Alex. Like maybe you didn't watch it as much as Evan and I
Oh,
did, because I want
fresh
someone
perspective.
who's never watched.
No, I
'cause
had like
this is-
all of season
yeah.
1, I think, like on VHS, and I had this movie for sure too.
Do you know what I did? I used to take a blank VHS and put it in the VCR, and I
And
would
record.
record the Fox. Yeah,
Fox
that's how I
Kids.
recorded like the first.
But then you would
Yep,
get in
the
trouble
first
with your
season.
parents if you recorded over something that was on that VHS.
Oh, I was too. I think I asked for some just so that wouldn't.
There was one in my house
I
that
was
was
too
like
scared.
a golf tournament or something, and I was like, no one's ever watched
Oh.
this. Let me use this, please. Like, it was collecting dust.
My parents weren't that savvy.
Yeah.
My parents weren't that savvy to know you could even record on VHS like that.
Yeah.
They aren't good with technology.
This is another review I needed to read. This one's 5 stars, and it says in all caps, part War Greymon, part Metal Garurumon, together combined to form Omnimon. Which, if you think about it, like, makes no sense. Like, what is Omnimon means? Like
No.
he's everywhere all at once? That's not at all what
No,
Omnimon's
yeah.
about. It's great.
Oh
It's
my
so
gosh.
good.
Evan, read the review I sent
Oh,
you.
where
for
did you say?
Letterboxd.
Oh, yeah.
I
It's in the chat.
know what
I
it
saw it. I
says.
saw it.
It's in the chat.
Okay.
If we're reading Letterboxd.
Yes. All right. 2 stars. Courtney sent this one to us. 2 stars. I did not expect the story to end where Shrek begins.
It's so good.
That's important film criticism. I love that. This one is 2 stars. Angie writes, the version I watched didn't have the Angela Anaconda intro, and for some reason I was sad. Oh, man.
And she goes, for some reason I was sad.
Oh, Evan, speaking of them, like, I don't know if they're like, what would you call it, remastering them now? Like, They said, because I watched the video where the creator and talks about it, and then all the voice actors come back and talk about it, and they're like, we are not including the thing from the beginning. They don't address it as like Angela Anaconda. They're just like, the thing at the beginning won't be
She who must not be named.
Do not worry,
Exactly.
people. She's not there.
Here's one. 5 stars. If you don't like Digimon the movie, then we can't fucking be friends. I agree. I don't know if you guys have more reviews, but I'm just going to cut in with
I got
my
one
letterbox. Okay, one more.
Oh yeah. And then, okay, so 3 stars. This is This is largely a time machine of early internet culture and 90s pop music. That said, it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Okay, let me try and remove the rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
This is 3.5 stars. I want to give it 4, but I understand the criticisms. Yes, in retrospect, incredibly stitched together, slapped together, but the first 2 parts work very well together. And then the third one, like, you don't really understand why anything's going on. But if you place it in the context of, like, this is what the assignment was take these 3 movies and make something out of them because they're not originally written as one. So I applaud Jeff Nimoy, who had to write the story for this. I applaud everyone involved. I think it works as a good transition between 1 and 2. Like, you bring together those 2 stories. So, like, I respect what they did. So, you know what? I'm bumping up from 3.5 to 4 stars. I fucking love this movie.
Courtney, do you want to go?
2 stars for the D.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
exactly.
I have the glasses on. On Letterboxd, I wrote it off as a 4. I actually did the thing that you do with Letterboxd, where I did a 3.5, and then I changed it last night at midnight to 4.
4.
Because I was like,
Bumped
come
it
on,
up.
Courtney, you know it's a 4. Honestly, I probably would put it as a 5, but I was like, let's be honest, there's flaws. But I did put the music alone adds 2 stars, but no, that's a lie. I love it. It's so good. Like I said, I would put this on all the time when I was young, and I just loved the depth of Digimon, and I thought the movie did good with starting a season, ending a season, and then ending a season with the different parts. I'm really, really, really excited. We might have to come back and do like a 10-minute episode on when the new one comes out and like kind of review that and be like, is it a 4 still, or maybe it's a 5 now? I'm really excited to see what they do with those storylines. Because to be honest, I don't know if anyone else knows. I know nothing about the Japanese storyline.
I don't either, actually.
Nada. So visuals is a 5-star. Music is a 5. Story is a 2, so we're going to round it out to a 4.
4.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
I like it.
So my rating, I tried to, I've been doing this more recently, coming in with my rating instead of just doing it on the fly. I was trying to be really critical. So just for the nature of it being 3 different movies, I did put it at a 3-star out of 5.
Okay.
But after fucking talking with you guys, we're moving it to 4. Let's go. I'm so hype. I love it. With 4 stars all around.
There's a short, stocky
Easily
rabbit who wears
influenced.
denim. It's fucking
What more
awesome.
can you ask for? Literally. I think the only thing I would have asked for is maybe a little more of the first crew, and maybe not even the crew, but give me their Digimon. I really missed Giant Cactus Boxing Hand Mon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That guy was great.
Yeah.
Right, like Gadomon's like one of my favorites, and we hardly got any of her. It's so weird.
Angela
like, why
Anaconda was in more of the movie than Kari.
Honestly.
Well, what is... Because there's Gatomon, and then turns into Hot Angel Woman, then turned... In this movie, it jumped to like...
A giant dragon, pink
like
dragon.
a Dratini pink dragon thing, but isn't there like a Sphinx form? Or is that a different Digimon?
She's like a mythical pink sloth cat looking thing.
Okay.
I fucking love it. Like,
it's so random. So yeah, she goes from cat to human to almost cat again. You know?
Their Digi-Evolutions, like, were all over the place, but they were great. They were great. I mean...
Oh, like cactus with boxing gloves goes to sexy plant lady.
Literally.
Like...
Yeah, well, no, it started as like a... That's good. Let's wrap up here. Closing thoughts, and then I'm gonna close this out here. We've covered.
I think
this
that's
so
what
well.
That was our closing thought. I mean,
yeah, I don't really any last thoughts anyone needs to get out there about Digimon or Digimon the movie.
I'm excited to see the redub and what each of these individual dubs or segments turn out to be, because I think it'll be great.
I hope they cater it, which I'm guessing they will, because we are that generation now. We're adults with more, our full frontal lobes are developed now. So I'm hoping that we get more of these characters talking, more maybe depth to them in these storylines. Like I said, like it was just super quick. I think each movie technically in the Japanese version is 40 minutes. So I'm hoping we get like that full length for all of them. I'm hoping that to just get more of the characters. I just want more of them.
We need to go to the digital world ourselves, inject this into our veins. Couldn't agree more. This was such a fun rewatch. I knew I was gonna enjoy it, but I don't think I knew how much I was gonna enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I probably would have thought I was gonna enjoy the Pokemon movie more, but that was like really straightforward and linear. You know, the 3 separate movies actually almost kept me on my toes a little bit more. I'm not kidding. When it after the second part of the movie said present day, I lost my shit. I was like, "What do you mean present day? What do you mean?"
I was rewatched this yesterday, but I kind of just last night, and I just had it on in the background. And my husband goes, "Are you actually gonna pay attention so you know what you're talking about tomorrow?" I go, "Daryl, I could reiterate every one-liner in this. I watched this movie 3 times this week. Like, back off.
Yeah.
Like, I know every one-liner."
That's great and very true.
Hey, shout out Daryl, though.
Shout out Daryl.
Yeah,
we appreciate him making sure you're
keeping
focused.
You
Tell
on
him
task.
thank you. Yeah.
It's more than I can say for myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's making sure you don't pull an Evan and just fall asleep during it.
I know, Evan, the amount of podcasts I listen, you're like, "I fell asleep during this one." I'm like,
Courtney, it drives me up a wall. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He was, "Well, I watched it a second time." Don't even tell us.
I wish I fell asleep that easy.
That's the other thing. I'm just jealous of Evan falling asleep
yeah,
on command.
that's what I'm jealous of.
I'm wrapping us up. Let's get this has been a lot of fun.
Before you
go ahead.
One short bit of news. We covered some other news, but WGA has released a statement encouraging studios in the AMPTP to sort of reach out themselves. And so I think there is a little bit of, because in the letter they reference one studio exec saying
the ball is moving.
Yeah, they've reviewed proposals and it wouldn't affect the bottom line. So there's a little disagreement among the AMPTP. Doubt is spreading. It feels like a little bit Succession, a little bit Games of Thronesian. Like the alliance is falling apart. So hopefully that means, progress soon and we can get back to covering what we
I need
love.
a Succession style show covering the strike
from
the strikers like
yeah.
Craig and then like the execs
Honestly, give it 5 years.
Yeah.
That's probably what we're gonna have,
Yeah.
like a community style like show like that.
Okay, this has been a lot of fun. Courtney, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for being like our best fan. You and Caitlin.
One of them.
You and Caitlin can split. Can be co-chairs.
People that are gonna fight you, but yes.
The Two Dudes Watch Cartoons
I was gonna say,
committee.
Cams always listens way quicker than I do.
Well,
I have to watch a movie and then list because I was like, I need to be fresh. Fresh.
We appreciate you being here from the jump. We appreciate all our fans, but thank you again. Courtney's an old friend, so it's really great to see you and catch up, but also thank you for being here.
Thanks, guys. Honestly, I can't believe you let me come on for a second time and ramble. We always ramble way too long on this. So
we somehow made it to Pornhub music. Like, I don't even understand. I gotta wrap us
honestly,
up.
It's us.
Let's get out of here. All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more Two Dudes, please check out our episodes on Apple, Spotify, and also on YouTube. Please follow us at Two Dudes Watch Cartoons on both Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget to rate, review, like.
That'll do it for this episode of Two Dudes Watch Cartoons. We'll catch you next time.
Two dudes watch cartoons.